YouTube's a little bit more accurate than we could be live now. I'm not sure, but YouTube's usually a little bit more accurate um, than.
Alrighty, so
There
I
we go.
guess I should start. And first question is, who wants more money? Simple question, yes or no? So, why you're not wealthy yet has nothing to do with money. In fact, if you're not experiencing the wealth you desire, it's not because of the economy, your job, or your circumstances. It's because your nervous system is addicted to a reality that no longer serves you. You're operating from a program, a memorized state of being, and it's sabotaging your success over and over again. You see, most people wake up every day and unconsciously recreate the same emotions, the same thoughts, and the same habits they had yesterday. And those thoughts are shaped by old beliefs like money is hard to come by or I don't deserve to be rich. And these old beliefs created from the past are on a repeat loop. So you keep creating the limitation that you're struggling to get away from by the habits of your thinking. Now, these just aren't ideas. They're actually neural patterns wired into your brain and emotional signatures locked into your body. When those limiting beliefs are running the show, you can read all the books, go to all the seminars, hustle 80 hours a week, but you'll still find a way to repel abundance. Why? Because your inner world isn't in alignment with the outer result that you're chasing. Remember, we're talking balance of mind, body, and spirit. And your body has become the mind of your past, and it's keeping you loyal to a version of yourself that is no longer true, or more importantly, useful. So, if you want wealth, you must become a new version of yourself. That doesn't mean just thinking positively, it means emotionally rehearsing a future reality until your brain doesn't know the difference. It means interrupting old patterns and teaching your body that abundance feels like before it actually arrives. The nervous system only accepts change through repetition and emotion. Repetition, emotional impact is the creation of belief and habit. So once you shift that identity, once you embody the energy of someone who lives in possibility, not scarcity, then the strategies, the synchronicities, the opportunities, they start to show up. Not because you chased them, but because you became someone who naturally attracts them. And Amy's going to be sharing with you a process by which you can, in fact, change the state and expectation of where you currently are in your mindscape.
Awesome. Good to see everybody today. So today we're going to talk about shifting that mindset and shifting our mindset around money. And I kind of came up with something a little fun and a little cool to do that we can actually kind of dig down in some of our limiting beliefs, what might be behind it on ChatGPT. So I am starting to use that thing like my personal assistant, my personal therapist, my personal. Just kidding. Don't use it as a personal therapist. If you need therapy, find somebody. Um, so we've done the resourcefulness before. We've talked about it before. But here's the thing. There's a lady by the name of Barbara Huson. We've actually had her on our show before, on our live show where we've interviewed her. She's got a book called Rewire for Wealth. I'll go let me pull the link to that. Um, and in it, um, she talks about the secret shame of successful women. And she calls it the secret shame of successful women. Oh, I'm going to need to grab my cord. Sorry, guys. She calls it the secret shame, the secret shame of successful women, because shame is one of the big things that kind of gets in the way of our money. And very often women feel ashamed of the trauma that's happened to them. So here is Barbara's book, Rewire for Wealth. Um, very often we feel like the trauma that happened to us is somehow our fault. And not just women, men too. But women have been through a lot more uh, trauma when it comes to predators that we have. Like I can only say certain things on YouTube here. So I got to kind of keep it clean. But yeah, so that trauma is like a big giant shield that's in the way of it, and it blocks us from being able to see the opportunities in our lives and our money. And this was a huge experience for me. Probably was right around when the pandemic happened. What was happening for a lot of people during the pandemic is that a lot of us were getting more sleep than we normally get. And when we get into REM, that's where our brain starts to work the trauma out. So really old traumas for a lot of people were starting to come up during the pandemic for people. And a lot more people got into therapy during that time because the trauma was coming up. And that happened for me. And the trauma came up and I was triggered. I'm standing in my kitchen screaming, I'm so triggered right now, with a lot of Australian cuss words that we don't. And but what was wild about it was that a year previous I had signed up for Amazon influencer. Like, and I had been approved a year prior. So fast forward a year, now I'm sitting in the pandemic, I'm dealing with the trauma. It's finally out of my way. I open up my computer. I'm still a wreck. I've got tears rolling down my face. I'm a complete mess. But I'm on my computer one day and I'm like this. And I was like, oh yeah, that Amazon influencer thing. I literally needed to click two buttons to connect it up. Remember, I'd been approved a year earlier. Two buttons to connect it up. Once I did, overnight, Jamie and I were at $3,000 a month in passive income from that. And it just grew and grew. But the thing is your reticular activation system is the thing that says, like we say, it's the bouncer. It's the bouncer that lets things in and doesn't let things in. And very often when we have the trauma and when we have the shame around the trauma, we also have the unworthiness. So if we're not worthy of I wasn't worthy of the $3,000 a month in passive income. But when I was able to remove the trauma, then I was able to go, oh, there it is. And my reticular activation was able to see it. I could have been doing that for a year. I probably would have made a lot more if I had started earlier too. Because some of the earlier influencers, boy, they made bank. They made bank. So, but that's kind of how it works. It's kind of how it works. So, you know, I have a couple friends of mine out here. And the problem with getting resourceful for most of us is that we don't get resourceful until we hit some kind of oh crap moment. It's that oh crap, I can't live like this anymore. And like Jamie said, having money, being wealthy has nothing to do with smarts. It has nothing to do with intelligence. It has nothing to do with the economy happening. It has everything to do with our own relationship around money. And what if we could teach you to get resourceful now before you hit the oh crap moment? And that's what we're going to teach you guys to do tonight. And Allie, you've already done this, but this is going to be a really good refresher for you. So, did you have something, Jamie?
I was just going to say, even if you have done it, and for those listening in the future, you can do this again and again and again, because the person you are right now is not the person who did this process the last time you did it. Every moment we are creating and recreating ourselves anew. And so the more personal development you do, the more you become a new construct of who you are. And from that new construct, you'll be seeing and experiencing things differently. And your reticular activation system will be allowing more of what you want on the VIP list into the um, allowing those entries in.
And
So,
that VIP list is your day in the life that you guys created, right? That VIP list is what we created last week. That's what we want to have on the VIP list. But right now, most of us are running in autopilot and letting in the things we don't want or that we say we don't want. But there's some level of us, some on some level, where we keep recreating the same patterns, and that's a clue on where a limiting belief is.
yeah, and those repeated patterns are great to observe, and Amy's going to help you with that in just a moment, because from a lot of the work I do with people, those belief structures can occur in your ancestors and be passed down. So it's not necessarily something that happened in your childhood. It could very well be a belief structure that has been inherited from your grandfather, great grandfather, great 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 grandmother. I mean, some certain structure and belief, and out of an emotional need to survive, that belief structure has now coded itself in the DNA as a survival mechanism. So subconsciously, you're surviving in one direction and consciously trying to achieve in the opposite direction. So acknowledging those patterns and being able to do something about those repeated patterns is going to help. And just before we finish up today, I've got a little trick, a little tip that will help you accelerate all of this. And I'll tell you that later.
Cool. Excited for that. So, really quickly, we're going to go over the three things that we recommend that you do if you're feeling stuck in your life. Um, we have a three-step process to get unstuck. That's a different one, but this is just the resourcefulness on getting unstuck if you're feeling like money stuck. And so the first thing is take out a sheet of paper, physically write down with your hand 20 things that someone would give, no, 100 things, sorry, 100 things someone would give you $20 for. 100 things that someone would give you $20 for. Now, you don't have to actually do it and it doesn't have to be legal. And if it's not legal, don't do it, by the way. But it's just a matter of like really opening up your brain, thinking about it. We had one lady that did this. She was sitting in the audience and she was $47,000 in debt, her and her husband. And she was just like, she did this. She came back 3 days later. She had $9,000. $9,000 from finding things. Now, what we discovered, which was interesting, do you know that people will buy your dog's pet hair on Etsy and they make stuff out of it? Kind of weird. I'm gonna grab my charger, Jamie. My battery's about to die.
Cool. Just talking about how Amy was saying you're going to write 100 things that someone would give you $20 for. And she mentioned it doesn't have to be legal because it's not about doing this. It's this, you're not creating a to-do list. You're telling your brain there is abundance everywhere. And while you're focusing on how or why or when someone would give you $20 for something, your brain has stopped focusing on what you don't have. So your brain, instead of focusing on what you don't have, is now focusing on how you can be given $20. So your brain can't be doing both simultaneously. So it's either doing one or the other. So while you spend this time writing this list, you're training your brain to focus on all the abundance that already exists in your life. And yet, when you feel in a crunch, we turn to and focus on how do I survive. So when we're constantly looking at how do I survive and why don't I have money, That's what you're creating. When you turn to, oh, how can I get more? How can I make more? How can I be happy? Then your brain is creating that. So this is an exercise in brain expansion more so than a to-do list.
And it starts to train your brain to see opportunity and see money where other people wouldn't see it. And that's kind of one of the gifts that I have because I've done this. But like my friends are always like amazed at like I everything I look at, I'm like, oh, that looks fun. How do I monetize it? That looks fun. Where's the money in that? Go ahead, Jamie.
Amy has done this so many times with so many clients. It's now a habit for her reticular activation system to see all the different ways in which you can make money in your current situations, to the point that I've seen people line up in a line where they're going to pay $100 an hour for something, and Amy's in the line all by herself where people are paying her $10,000 an hour for the same thing. A lot of people are lining up to pay, and she's in the line by herself for people to pay her to do the exact same thing because she's changed her brain in how she observes because she's repeatedly walked one-on-one clients through this again and again and again.
And straight up survival, guys. I was on my own at 16. So a lot of it was just like survival. Like I just would see money where other people didn't see it. And I can see money where people can monetize things that they have in their business. And here's another really cool thing. We had a friend of ours do this exercise that makes like probably at least he does at least 5 to 10 million a year, right? And he did this, and what he did it for was on his business. So he did this list on his business and started seeing more creative ways that he could start earning in his business as well. Because a lot of times, especially like in our own businesses, it's too close to our face and we just can't see it. We know how good the thing we have is. We just can't see the message. We just can't see past the thing that we do to be able to portray it and then monetize it in such a way that benefits you as well as the client. So that's task number one. Task two is to clean out a junk drawer. Clean out a junk drawer or a closet or a space or a corner. If you have something piling up, clean it up because what that does is it tells the universe that you have space to bring in more. And if you're stuck, then you're somewhere the universe is being told you don't have the space to bring in more. We do this when we're like a client hasn't paid us, we're waiting to get paid, and I'm like, I don't know what's going on. And we've been waiting for this check. It's 3 weeks late. Jamie and I are like, where do we need to clean something up? Let's go clean something up. And we get up, we find a little spot to clean, we clean, and within a day or two, it's money's in the bank.
And that is the trick that I was going to tell you. We'll tell you later. Cleaning up your space or changing your environment because your brain is in a habit of living the past. You survived yesterday. Your brain says, let's do everything identical to yesterday because you're not dead. Perfect. Yet, are you happy? Are you wealthier? Are you excited? That's not necessary for the brain to keep you alive. They're bonuses. So if you want to have more joy, fun, abundance, you have to change how your brain is observing the environment. And the best way to do that is clean up some space, change where your bed is change your office around, reorganize, do something different so your brain is observing your environment as different. When your brain observes your environment as different, it pays more attention to new potentialities. So cleaning is more, on one way, it's all about the energy and frequency and clearing that space out. On the other way, it's also tapping into your brain's natural survival mechanism of, oh, something's different. So if something different, means I can be different. I was that way, now I can be this way.
Awesome. And then step number three is to shake your ass. My favorite one. And you can shake your ass while you're cleaning the junk drawer. You can do two at the same time if you want to. Makes it a little more fun. But what that does is we shake trauma out of our body. When we dance, we shake trauma out of our body. It's the only time our entire brain lights up. Plus, it is impossible to be in a bad mood when you're shaking your ass to your favorite song. So by really moving the body in that way and lighten up the brain in that way, similar to what Jamie said earlier, you can't do two things at once. You can't shake your ass and enjoy yourself and think about your past and what's going wrong at the same time. So those three things will get you out quickly, get
Yep.
unstuck quickly, especially around money. Big time. Now, the final thing. Is there a money pattern that you have recognized? I'm going to pull up my ChatGPT. I did this earlier today. I played with a couple of them. So this is really cool. I'll give you the prompt. All right. I have a repeated pattern of, can you help me identify the limiting belief behind it? So I did this with my ChatGPT. And I said, I have a repeated pattern of making a lot of money one month and then barely any the next. It's feast or famine. Can you help me identify the limiting belief behind it? And this is what ChatGPT said to me. Oh, yes, we're about to go deep and get cozy with the subconscious mind. The feast or famine pattern is a classic clue that there's a hidden script running the show. Let's Sherlock Holmes the heck out of this. We'll start by narrowing it down with some quick multiple choice. Gut answers only, don't overthink it. And the first one it said to me was, A, when you make a lot of money, what emotion usually follows shortly after? And it said, guilt, who am I to have this much when others don't? B, fear, what if I can't repeat this? C, pressure, now I have to work even harder to keep this going. And D, relief, phew, I can finally breathe, but now I can chill. So pick your letter and I'll give you the next question based on that. And I said B and C, fear and they said, fear and pressure, ding, 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 we're on to something juicy. That combo usually signals a subconscious belief that money is conditional. And I was raised that money is conditional. I was raised that way. So the belief is if I make a lot, I'll have to constantly hustle to keep it up. And if I don't, I'll lose it or worse. Success equals stress and eventually burnout. So let's keep peeling the onion. Next question. When you imagine consistent monthly income that flows easily and reliably, what feels most true deep down? A, sounds boring. I thrive on adrenaline and deadlines. B, I don't trust that it would last. C, I don't know if I've earned that level of ease yet. And D, if that happened, people would expect even more from me and I'd have to escape. So which one hits you in the gut the hardest? Pick your poison and let's go another layer down. So I said B and C again. I said, oof, B and C again. You're consistent, which is ironically exactly what your nervous system doesn't believe money will ever be. Let me break down what those two really reveal. B, I don't trust that it would last. This usually ties to a core belief like good things are temporary, or if I relax, I'll lose everything. And C, I don't know if I've earned that level of ease yet. Yes, the old worthiness wound. That sounds like money must be hard earned, or I have to prove myself over and over again to deserve abundance. And by the way, we were driving in the car while we were doing this, and Jamie was doing emotion code on me to remove these limiting beliefs as we were going. So it was very cool. So they said, here's the rough sketch of that limiting belief combo that's likely running the show. I'm only safe when I'm hustling. And if it comes too easy, it's going to disappear or I'll sabotage it. So then it asked the last question. Next question, growing up, what was the most consistent message you absorbed about money? A, you have to work really hard for it. B, it doesn't grow on trees. C, easy money is shady or lazy. D, it comes in, but it goes out just as fast. Oh, my dad must have said it doesn't grow on trees all the time. So I put B. That was, said, the greatest hits album of generational scarcity belief. That one's been passed down like a family heirloom no one wants, but everybody keeps polishing. The phrase trains the brain to believe money's rare and it's supposed to be hard to get. So if I ever do get a lot, it must have been a fluke or I better prepare to lose it. And that was the belief. That was the belief. We were able to test it and say that was it. And then get that work done. How cool is that process? So here's the prompt. I have a repeated pattern of blank. Can you help me identify the limiting belief behind it? And be as descriptive as you can around the pattern, because that pattern basically is going to tell you that pattern is, if it keeps happening and it's something you don't want, there's a belief there. Otherwise, the pattern wouldn't keep happening. And you can use ChatGPT to help you suss it out. How cool is that? Did you give it a try, Allie? No?
Not yet. I'm literally in the middle of this humongous project on ChatGPT, so I just didn't want to derail it.
Oh, gotcha.
Can you can you say put it on hold and open a whole separate one?
Yeah, you have a ChatGPT,
Just the regular, not the paid one.
but you're logged into it, right? Yeah, it'll save your stuff. Just open another tab and open ChatGPT on that new tab, and your other stuff will stay right there.
Perfect.
And
Okay.
you can all go back to it too, because
Perfect.
like I did that ChatGPT this morning, driving into the studio, and then I just pulled it back up again. And I've been using ChatGPT all day. Probably use it a little more than I should.
So it is a great sounding board for you to get a new understanding about yourself with. It isn't the complete and total solution. It is a great step and speedway to the solution. So if stuff comes up, you have more of awareness, then do some of the other work on removing those limiting beliefs.
And you'll feel it, like it'll hit you. Like I was like, as I was reading, I was like, oh, that's the one. Like really kind of hit me.
Because a big part of what Amy and I call ninja thoughts, that's what these limiting beliefs are, is a structure of belief that's in your brain, that's operating your brain counterproductive to your conscious thinking. Your outside thinking is saying, I want A, B, C, and the inside, pulling all the levers and the control says, oh, well, we're going to do X, Y, Z instead of A, B, C, because you can think about A, B, C all you like, but we're still going to do X, Y, Z. So they're ninja thoughts. Now, a ninja is in the shadows, all dressed in black. So when you shine a light on it, and that's what this process is, the self-awareness is shining a light on the ninja and the ninja thought. And when you shine a light, a big bright light on it, the ninja's no longer in the shadow. It's just some foolish person going in black. Oh, ironically, in black pajamas. The power is gone. It's turned way down low when it's no longer operating from the shadows. So awareness is going to be able to change to a great degree what's been operating in the background.
Yeah. Awesome. Cool. Any questions on that?
Yeah, Amy, what did you ask it after it gave you a handful of potentials?
It just did it say it back to you?
Yeah, it said usually these are common limiting beliefs and it listed like 5 or 6.
Did
But
it
I
ask
thought
did it ask you to choose one?
no, but it gave me some journal prompts if I wanted to explore it further.
Okay,
Mm.
so mine automatically asked me. So I would say, can we dig deep? Can we dig deeper? I really want to get down to the core of what my limiting belief might be. How about if I choose which one most resonates and let's go extra layers deep, something like that.
Okay.
Or you can follow it up with a different prompt that says, please dig deeper. From what you've heard so far, ask me 5 or 6 questions or a number of questions to choose from to get down to the root cause problem.
Right, and I would say give it to me in a A, B, C, D format. A comma B comma C comma D format. That's a great way to do it too. Sometimes you just have to tell it what you want it to do. I have mine programmed to automatically ask me questions. So, hello. We didn't mean to do Chat GPT 2 weeks in a row, but I was like this morning, I'm like, I wonder if I could get Chat GPT to do stuff.
No, I'm glad you're bringing this in because it's such a valuable tool when you know how to actually use it a little bit. And I always forget about it and then I get stuck and think I have to figure all this out on my own. But I'm not kidding you guys. I went crazy the other night after we did our thing. I got all this inspiration and I just went to town on ChatGPT and it was really good for me. So I had a lot of fun.
And
Super
it
valuable tool.
and it's cool. And the more chat you use Chat GPT, because again, you're in your account, it gets to know you.
Mhm.
Like I was like listen to the way Chat GPT talks to me.
Like
Like
a
it
friend. Yeah.
it does. It talks to me like a friend. It's designed to talk to me like a friend. I told Jamie this morning, go, kind of think I have a weird relationship going on with my Chat GPT because it's like I feel like, oh, I need to go consult my friend.
So I just put in the chat a potential copy and paste for you to follow up with um, after it does the first one,
Yeah.
and hopefully that will then get ChatGPT to be um, relaying stuff back to you in an ABC kind of format, and you choose just keep going until you get to a very precise end product of and this is a process for self-awareness. Now, the Chat GPT is actually called Chat GPT.
Oh, let me get you you know what? It's chatgpt.com here. And it's free to get an account. You can upgrade to their $20 a month. And I recommend doing that if you write a lot of ad copy or if you have businesses that you run and stuff that you want to use them.
So
But
it's an open AI platform that basically draws upon all the internet information out there. Um,
yeah, it's an AI and last week we did a deep dive of creating your future self with using AI to help you write it. So it was really, really a good one. I recommend going back to the YouTube channel and watching that because that one was a really good one. I was really excited about that process because it was inspired by Hoda from The View, and uh, and then Jamie and I added our own little spin to it. So that was kind of a process we created a little bit on our own. Pretty cool.
Now, another thing, when you're doing the 100 things that someone would give you $20 for, if something pops up like, oh, that's not possible or that won't hurt, they're echoes of limiting beliefs. So jot it down just on a piece of paper to the side, of he's like, well, that works for other people, for not for me. You could write that down. And then later on, you can come back to this list of paper of elements that you don't fully believe in yourself in. And you can say, what is the limiting belief behind this? You can even throw it into the chat GPT and say, this is a thought. Is there a limiting belief this is connected to? Or it might become evident that it's a limiting belief in itself, such as, um, I don't believe this would work for me, is a limiting belief. So then all you do is ask ChatGPT or you yourself what is the opposite of this? I don't believe this will work for anybody. Well, I don't believe this would work for me. The opposite of that is this always works for me under any circumstance. And you just tell yourself that as soon as anything else is coming up, just say, ah, this always works for me. And then imagine what it feels like when something is working for you. Stuff has worked for you in the past. You got dressed this morning. That worked. You chose the clothes, you put them on. You go, oh, yeah, I am capable of achieving. Stuff does work for me. It's about retraining your brain on what it's listening to. And it's listening to the things you wanted to listen to rather than the habits of the past that it has been programming yourself from your past.
Also, once you get that core limiting belief, you can ask ChatGPT to write you 5 affirmations that are the opposite of that to help.
Yep.
Yeah. And then add that into the meditation that you created last week. Add that into your own hypnosis. The hypnosis that you created for yourself. You can add that in. Or you can put signs up around, or you can put it on your mirror or wherever. Start reinforcing the opposite. But that's one of the ways that we start to reprogram the subconscious mind is repetition.
Mhm.
So repeating, repetition, a nightly
Repetition and emotional impact have the biggest changing ability for your belief and your DNA structure.
to change a limiting belief. Exactly. Awesome. Well, I'm going to jump off of the live stream and we'll do a little bit of energy work with you guys. So
Yeah.
just drop us off the live stream. And for those on the live stream, if you guys want the extra bonus, it's free to sign up. Just go to toxicminefield.com. I'll post it in the chat. Toxicminefield.com and sign up. It's free to sign up. We decided to start doing this because we